Morning all, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do a bit of video today with regards to how I go about buying new bikes and more specifically getting a discount on them. I got a really good deal on the Aprilia that I talked about in this video over here, and loads of people have been asking me in the comments to help them because they're not confident or they don't know what they can get or how to negotiate a better deal for a bike. So yes, that's what we're going to talk about today. So I guess why should you listen to me? Don't, for a start. You shouldn't listen to me. You should go out and learn and do it yourself. That being said, if you want and if I can help you, then feel free. This is just my opinion. There'll be loads of better ways of doing this. Lots of different people will do it completely differently to me. And if you do, cool. Let me know. I want to know what your guys' tips and tricks are just as much. But I did spend quite a bit of time in my early 20s, quite a long time ago now, in the motor trade. I used to sell cars for several different brands, BMW, Vauxhall, for quite a period of time. So things have changed a bit since then, but I understand the basic psychology and what conversations are going to be happening between the sales guy that you're talking to and his sales manager when they're trying to get a better deal. I kind of get that. I get some of the strategies that they'll try and use, so I might be able to give you a bit of a steer there. I've been in sales for 20 years now, so I've bought quite a few new cars over the last 10 years as well. I would say at least 10 between me and the wife. 2 new bikes, nearly 3. That's another video. So look, I've got a bit of experience here. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then cool as well. I'm going to be talking about new bikes. I'll give you a bit of an explanation around cash and finance, although it's ultimately the same thing really. But most people are going to finance the bike, so I'll talk over it in that sense. I'm not going to give a finance lesson, but that could be another video if anybody's really interested. But we're going to look at this through the lens of buying a new bike on finance, and then I'll just let you know how I do it, and then we'll see how we go. I bought the Aprilia on finance. I've since paid that off because I put it track only, but the principle's all the same. So okay, so where do we start? So first thing you need to do is you need to understand that this needs to be not done in a rush. You want to set aside, if you can, at least a couple of 3 weeks to do this. I like to do this over a period of 8-10 weeks preferably. Just because if you rush, you're going to get painted into a corner where you're going to just take a deal because you want the bike, and that's not the best way to get the best deal. We all want to get the new shiny stuff quickly and now, and one thing or another, but there's a process to follow here. And in my opinion, if you do it this way, you're more likely to get a better deal. The other thing to bear in mind is what bike you're actually going to buy. I'm of the opinion that pretty much you can get a discount on any bike, with one exception, and it might only be a tail chidey chucked in, or but there's always something that you can get a discount on from somewhere. Somebody always wants that sale for one reason or another, with the exception of if you're going to buy something that's like a numbered rare bike, like a Superleggera, or something that they're only making really limited numbers that they could sell 10 times over. Don't be silly. You're definitely not going to get a discount on something like that, so it's a waste of time trying. The other thing to bear in mind is if you're going to try and get, let's say, okay, so the new BMW M, when that comes out, so it's not rare, but when that comes out, they're going to have a load of pre-orders already in for that, and they're all going to be sold. So people that are going to go and try and buy that bike, when they see it, they're going to be, there's a waiting list and a long time to get that bike. You're going to get almost nothing off something like that. Because the dealerships can sell the stock that they've got coming in multiple times over, because people are waiting for it. So if you can, what you really need to do is just wait until that excitement level just dies down a bit. And I'm only talking, 4 to 6 months, something like that, until the dealerships have got stock in. Then you're talking. When they've got stock in, if you go into a dealership and say, what's the lead time of this bike? Do you have one in stock? Do you have them in stock? If they tell you a lead time on a bike's a week, you could have it in a week or even 2 weeks. They've got them in stock. So then that we're getting into a position where they've got more than they've got demand for. so they can sell them. They're going to want to sell them at a discount and keep them moving because they don't want stock in, they've got numbers to hit the manufacturers, etc. So timing is everything, and you need to leave time to do that. So why do you need to leave time? Most important thing, in my opinion, here is you need to build a relationship with the dealership that you're intending on buying the bike from. Pick a dealership. I always try and buy local just because I think it's important to support local. But if you've got a dealership that you want to buy from for whatever reason, I don't know, pick a dealership, and that's the dealership preferably that you're going to buy from. However, caveat here, if we get to the end of this process and for whatever reason my local dealership is still saying they're going to charge me 500 quid more than 100 miles away, I've got kids to feed. I'm gonna take that one that's 500 quid less. It is what it is. It's just a game at the end of the day. So pick that dealership, and you need to start this process straight away. So start going into that dealership, find a sales guy, make friends with a sales guy, and I use friends in the loosest term. Sales guys are not your friends. Do not fall into that trap. If a sales guy can get an extra grand out of you, no matter how nice you think he is, no matter how many of your kids' names he remembers, he will get that grand out of you, and he will not lose 1 minute's worth of sleep about that. Just be comfortable with that, all right? They're not your friend. So make friends with the sales guy and start to keep going to the dealership and visit. Learn their name, call them by their name, simple, basic stuff, Get to know them a little bit. Ask if you can sit on bikes. Be a bit irritating, ask them questions, even if you already know the answer. Get them asking questions. And what you're trying to do here, it's a bit of psychology, but you're trying to get that sales guy and that dealership invested. You want them to invest time in you. So if you just go into a dealership and say, can I have a grand off? They've never met you, they've not invested any time, and they'll be like, and it's a lot of effort to get a grand off. They've got to put work in, go to the sales manager, blah, blah. Probably just not going to happen. But if they spend time with you and they're mentally invested in you, then you start to get, they're going to want to close something out of this. They're going to want a return on that investment. So, take time, go back to the dealership, go and have coffees, talk to them, take a few weeks, just chill out and give them a story about why you're taking your time. You've got some money coming, or you've got you're trying to make your mind up between two bikes. That's always good. You need to give yourself a bit of an out from a conversation, because the next part of this is you're going to want to test ride the bike. For lots of different reasons, you need to test ride the bike to make sure it's the bike that you want to buy. When I test rode a load of bikes for the Super Naked series recently, my opinion from the start of that process to the end of the process completely changed, and it was all due to the test rides. The bikes I thought I'd loved, I hated. The bikes I wasn't really sure about, I loved. So test ride the bike, and again, we're still getting them to the dealership and the sales guy to invest time in it. So if they say you can have it for an hour, push for 2. Yeah, they say you can have it for 2, push for 4. Say you make up some excuse, your wife, you want to take it back to your house to show your wife, you've got to get her to sign off on it. Can I just take it for 2, an hour and a half, blah, 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 whatever. It all matters. It really does matter. So get the test ride, take the bike out, take it for as long as you can. And again, keep thinking about this, keep investing. When you get back from the test ride, it's going to get a bit awkward. They're going to start then thinking, well, they should be buying a bike now. Go, leave. So you've got to test ride the other bike. You need to make your mind up, you need to be sure, walk away. Maybe even go back to dealership again a couple of days after, just have a look around it. They're gonna come and talk to you again, they're gonna think you're ready to buy. So I'm just making my mind up, just drag this out as long as you can, and as long as don't get to the point where they think you're a tire kicker, it's a fine line, use your judgment, you're smart people. So that's the first part of this. So we've got the sales guy, we know what the dealership is, we've got them to invest their time in us. Now they think we're a legitimate buyer. What you also now need to be doing, either in parallel to this, or start doing just as you get towards the end of this process, you need to do your research. All right, so that's part 2 of this. Get them to invest time in you. Do your research. All right. So this is where you're going to have to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to have to bend the truth a bit. There's some salesman's time are going to get wasted in this process. It just is what it is. But like I said to you before, if they could get an extra grand out of you, they're going to do. So you need to know that the point of part 2 of this is you need to understand roughly what level of discount is available. First thing I would do or go on Facebook groups. If you want to buy a Ducati, go on Ducati Owners Group on Facebook. They will love to tell you what sort of deal they got. It might be in the DMs, but just go on there and say, look, I'm just about to buy a Ducati. Can you guys give me a rough idea what discounts you got? It needs to be recent discounts, because if you're buying a bike now or buying one in 12 months, you probably get more discount. I got a good few grand off my Aprilia, but if I'd have waited till now, what am I... 5-6 months later, I'd have got more discount if I'd have waited till now, but I wanted it then. So just bear that in mind. So what are recent discounts that people got? Facebook's a great resource for that. If some of them might not want to tell you, just DM them and just say, look, would you mind just giving me a rough idea what you got? Then you take that and get an average. So let's say you're buying a Ducati V4S, you find out that the recent deals that people have been getting is £1,000 discount. That's about right. Maybe some got 800, maybe some got 1,1200. It's about £1,000. So you know that the market at the minute is you're going to be able to get £1,000 discount, but you want more than that, right? So we've done that piece of research. This is where we need to start. You need to be comfortable here and just put your morals a little bit to the side for this part. You want to ring some dealerships that are out of area, and you need to make up a story that makes them feel comfortable that you're not just ringing around and doing what you're doing, which is shopping around. So you need to get hold of a sales guys and say, look, these guys need to think that you're ready to buy a bike. You just ring somebody up, and start asking for discounts. They're not going to bother with you. They'll probably won't even tell you. But if you say, look, I'm ready to buy a bike now. I've done my research. I've done my test rides. I want to place an order. My issue here is I've had really bad service from my local dealership. I don't want to deal with them. And then just build on their ego a bit and say, but I've had so many people in my Facebook groups recommend you guys as the best place to do business with, that I've come to you. So I'm hoping you can help me. That's the conversation you really want to be having with this any dealership. Just pick one that's out of the way. Bear in mind, make sure it's not part of the same group. A lot of dealerships, so you take Ducati Manchester, I think they own Preston, Stoke, maybe, I don't know. They own like 4 or 5 Ducati dealerships in that Northwest E sort of area. So make sure it's a different group. So you've got, SMC, Sheffield Motorcycle Centre in Sheffield. And then you've got Ducati Manchester. They're different groups. That's what I'm trying to say. Different owning companies, franchise owning companies. So ring them, tell them that you're going to buy it. And then what you want to do is you need to tell a bit of a white lie, all right? Let's be honest here. So you know from your Facebook research that about £1,000 is about right. That's what most people have been getting. So you want to push that. We're trying to get to the point here where they just laugh you out of the building. That's what you want to get to. So it's £1,000. So you ring them and say, right, I've been offered £2,000 discount from SMC in Sheffield. If we can do that deal, I'll do that deal with you now. I really don't want to do business with them. You'll be like, what? £2,000? It might go to sales manager. Depends on how wild you've gone with this. It might go to sales manager, come back and say, there's no way we can do that deal. We'd love your business. And then you need to play on it a bit and just say, look, I'd really love to do business for you guys. I'm not going to do business with Sheffield. They're just wasters. No way. I'll never do business with them again. What could you do then if you couldn't do £2,000? Can we get somewhere? And then. We're gonna get into a conversation now, probably, with how you're gonna pay for it. So we're gonna get into monthly payments. Try and keep that to the side of it for now, and just say you've not made your mind up how you're gonna finance it, because this is another conversation that we need to get to. The monthly payments and the interest rate is another complication here. So just say, look, it might be cash, it might be finance. I'm still trying to work it out. They might come back and push you on that and want to give you finance figures. Let them, that's fine. But just say, look, even if it's finance, you're aware that the interest rates are fixed, which means the monthly payments are only variable based on the discount of the list price. So let's just deal with that now. Try and keep it separate. So hopefully they'll come back and say, well, there's no way we can do £2,000, but we'd love your business. We're only at 1,200 quid. And at that point you say, all right, okay, now you've got a definite discount figure. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's 800 quid, you've got a definite discount figure. So push again. Next thing you need to do is push again. Just say, well, look, I've got a budget here. Like, I was hoping to get £2,000. If they come at 1,200 quid, just push a bit this time. Just say, is there any way we could get to 1,500? I could probably swing it then. See what happens. Might say yes, might say no. Let's say they say yes. So look, we could do, and the most we could do is probably you'll come back at 1,400 quid discount. That's the absolute limit we can do. Then you've got a definite discount. Then you just need to walk away from that phone call. It's not enough. Just say you were expecting to get $2,000. You need to think about it. Just get away from the call somehow. Be polite, thank them for the time, and get away from it. But you've now got a definite discount. You were $1,000 on Facebook. Now you can get more than that. So the next thing you need to do that again. You've got to ring another dealership now, but now you've got more confidence in your voice because you know you've got 1,400 quid from dealership A. All right. So now you need to ring dealership B and say, look, I've been speaking to dealership A. I've been recommended to you guys. Given the same story, it doesn't matter. Make sure you let them know that your local dealership's useless, whatever. You don't want to do business with them. Tell them that you've got 1,400 quid from. If you got 1,400 quid, push a little bit this time. So tell them 1,500, right? So you got £1,500 discount from this dealership. Can you match it? If so, we can have a deal. I'll give you my credit card number right now. You won't, but say that. They're going to go away. Likelihood is they will, unless you're at the point. If you're at the absolute limit at 1,400, but this is where we're trying to get to, right? If they come back and say yeah. Now it's going to get awkward because you're going to have to walk away. Just have second thoughts, use your judgment, get away from that conversation. And now you've gone from 1,400 to 1,500. Okay, well, now what? Let's do it again, yeah? And we need to do this, rinse and repeat this with all these local dealerships until we're at the point where, some might say no, some might say yes. Until they're all saying no, 1,500 quid, that's absolute most we can do, blah, 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 blah. Then we know that we're at 1,500 quid. So then we can take that figure and we can go to our dealership. Now, the next part of the research is finance. So part 3 of this is how are you going to pay for this? What do you want to do? I'm not going to give a finance lesson here. I'm not qualified to do that. But there's 2 real sorts of finance. Hire purchase, you pay a monthly payment, there's an interest rate. At the end of that, 3, 4, 5 years, you own the bike. Simple. Or there's the PCP, which is what most people do because the monthly payment's lower. So you pay a deposit, you pay a monthly payment, and at the end of it there's a bigger balloon payment which you can either pay off, hand the bike back and it's gone, or if you hand the bike back and the bike's worth more, it never is. But if it is, then you've got a deposit to put onto the next one. My advice, humble advice from my own experience on this is, if you're going to do a PCP or hire purchase and you've got a low interest rate, you want to put, and you're not necessarily intending on keeping that, or even if you are, put as little deposit in as you can. You want to go minimum deposit, because if you've got a 2.9 interest rate or even lower, interest rates are for nothing at the minute. That bike's going to depreciate, so you're putting your money, your cash deposit, into a depreciating asset which is going to lose value. If you put a minimum deposit in and put the rest of it into something as stocks and shares, ISA, or something that's going to actually earn you money and grow, it makes more sense, right? Think about it. So that's what I would suggest you do. But most people buy on PCP. That's what I did with the Aprilia before I settled it off. So let's look at PCP. So the next thing you need to understand is what are your monthly payments going to be, and are you comfortable with that? Because each different brand will have an advertised discount rate that they will tell you is a standard discount rate, it's non-negotiable, it's utter rubbish. It is negotiable. Aprilia, when I bought mine, I think it was 6.9% for RSV4s. They'll give you different interest rates for different bikes. Guess what? If that bike's not selling very well, or it's an old model, you'll get a low interest rate. How can they do that if it's the same interest rate across Aprilia? Think about it. So you need to understand that that interest rate is definitely negotiable. Right, so if we look at, pick on BMW, just because they've got a decent finance calculator, just go onto their website, UK BMW Motorbikes, go into the finance section, you'll get into this finance calculator. And we're gonna, as I said before, we're gonna look at PCP, so personal contract purchase, which is where you pay a monthly payment, plus a deposit, and then you have a final payment or balloon payment at the end of it. Now, interestingly, as I said before, if you look at these different bikes here, so you've got 0% APR, 5.9% APR, 9.9% APR, lots of different APRs across here. And the only reason that they're doing that was because these bikes will be selling at a particular rate that they'll have agreed, and if they're not selling enough, they'll lower that APR. So you can look at this R1250 GS here. You know, that's a high interest rate because that bike will be selling at an acceptable level for BMW. So being under no illusions, these interest rates are negotiable no matter what they say. They just are. You've just got to find the right buttons to press. But let's just pick on something I like. Alright, so let's pick on an S1000 RRM Sport. And all we're trying to do here is we're trying to understand in our heads, so when we go to have a conversation with these particular dealers and salespeople, we need to know what the payment's going to be, because they'll try and baffle you and blind you with science and add on gap insurance, or they'll add on this or add on that. You want to know near enough to the pound what your payment should be. And that's why I say we try and separate the, you know, really early on in the discussions, the dealerships are going to be asking you what payment, how much can you afford a month, or what's your payment are you expecting. You want to separate that. You want to first of all work on the list price of the bike for your discount. And even if you have to say that it's going to be a cash deal, work on that first. You need to understand what that discount's going to be, because otherwise they're just going to start trying to complicate things for you, saying they'll knock this off and knock that off, and then your payment will be this. And all of a sudden you think you've got a good deal, but actually the discount on the list price is not that great, and you could have got even more. So if you first and foremost get the discount on the list price, then what you can do is come in here and say, right, look at this calculator, this is perfect, this is just what we need, right? So we put that deposit to 0, right? And we go, let's say 36 months, we'll leave that there, annual mileage 5,000, so let's leave all that. So that deposit being 0 effectively means that we're paying full price for that bike. So at list price, so at list price for that bike, it's 356 quid a month, right? Doesn't matter the figures, but just for argument's sake. Now, we're going to need to put minimum deposit. So let's say we put £500 deposit in. All right, near enough. I can do that here. So if you put 500 deposit in, so we now know that that's £340 a month. Now, what we also know from the previous conversation is we can actually get £1,500 discount. So now, or you can see exactly where we're going to go here. So we take our 500 plus the 1,500. If we put £2,000 in here, now we understand actually that our payment with a £2,000 discount, or a £1,500 deposit, excuse me, and a £500 deposit and a £1,500 discount, we now know that our payment should be £293. So you see where we're going with all this. You know, we're taking a bit of time, but we're building up that now we've gone from not knowing anything to knowing that we can get 1,500 quid discount, and at 1,500 quid discount, if we put our £500 deposit in, which is honestly the most I would ever advise anyone putting in for a PCP, I'd put less in actually if you can. We've got a payment of 293 quid a month. Now, that is based on, if you look on here somewhere, I'll show you, a 7.9% APR. So that's the interest rate on there. So give or take a few quid for road tax and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be at 290 quid a month. So now, if you wish, now we've got enough information now, or almost enough information to be able to take into our own dealer that we can do. But what I would do again is I'd repeat the earlier steps before, and I'd make a couple of phone calls now, and I would ring a dealership up again, not connected dealership, and now we can work on payment, because we know that we can get 1,500 quid discount, and we know that by getting that plus our deposit we're at 293. So what we're going to do, we're going to ring a dealership up and we're going to say, look, we know 1,500 quid is the maximum, pretty much, because we've pushed a few dealers, you know, we've tried, we know all the people on Facebook have bought, so that's what the market discount is for that bike. People aren't going to get any more. You've done your best, you know, you've prodded all the other dealers, so 1,500 quid, that's fine, right? So we know that 293, so can we get less than 293? The only way we're going to get less than 293 really is if this interest rate is not negotiable. So you need to make the dealership that you call think that you've got less than that. So first thing I'd do, I'd repeat almost those steps again, different dealerships. Like I said, I ring them up and say, you've got to deal with your local dealership, you really don't want to do business with them because blah 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 blah. They're willing to sell it you, and you just quote it off here, 5,000 miles, 36 months, brand new S1000 RR, with £500 deposit, £1,500 discount. They're willing to sell it me for not 293, they're willing to sell it me for let's say 250. Yeah, that's a lot. If you think 50 quid a month over 36 months, really should be able to do that, shouldn't I? That's another 1,800 quid. They're not going to knock 1,800 quid off the bike. Finance commission, how much would they get finance commission? I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I've got to think it's going to be between 500 and £1,000. Excuse me. So, so go at 250, and again, just say, look, and then the dealership that you ring are going to be like, there's no way they can do it for 250. No, I'm really, really sorry, and just. Just say to them, well, what can you do it for? No, we're nowhere near. I'm just I'm not sure that was make up something about it, maybe being a pre-registered one that they'd sold you, but you really want new. And just ask them and do that process. I'm not going to go through it all again, but just ring a few more dealers, play them off against each other, just tell them a lie, being honest. Just say, look, I've been offered 250. Ask them what they can do. If they come back at 270, ring the next one, tell them it's 260, and just see where you go for a bit until you really hit brick walls. And then finally, after all that, several salespeople have been hurt in the process of this, but you've now got pretty much a guaranteed idea of what the maximum discount is. And then what do? You push again. You've got to be cheeky. I'm not going to say this is easy, and it takes a bit of I personally, I'm the sort of personality that I thrive off this. This is my absolute favourite part of the whole bike process. I love getting the discount and getting the deal and negotiating. I just find it fun. But you're never going to negotiate unless you've A, built a relationship, B, got the confidence to know what discounts are, because you're blind otherwise. But doing these things that I do before, I've got a relationship with the dealership now. I've got complete confidence in what discount I can get elsewhere. It's much easier with cars. With cars, they've got CarWow. Since they brought CarWow in, it's been a breeze, because you can go into CarWow. They'll all reply with the discounts. You should have BikeWow. If anybody wants to set up a partnership and do BikeWow, get in the pot. I'll partner with you, definitely. I think we should do that. I'm just too busy to do it all on my own. But with CarWow, you can put in whatever car you want, all your spec and everything, and it'll fire back 5 different dealerships that'll offer you their discounts. You just take that into a dealership, and then you've got automatic ammunition to say, well, these dealerships will give me 10%. I want 11% here. It's easy. Unfortunately, we don't have that yet with bikes, so you've got to do it the old-fashioned way, like we're doing. But you can now go into your local dealership. So what I would now do is I'd go into a local dealership, and at this point it's time to be honest now with them and just say, look guys, what I would say is, I've decided I want to buy the Ducati, definitely. I don't want to buy the Aprilia. I've made my mind up here. I've done what I always do, Mr. Salesman, in this circumstance. I've done my own due diligence. I've done a bit of shopping around so I know what the discounts are, because I don't want to waste your time. That's what you need to say. I don't want to waste your time. I want to do a deal with you now. Be ready to do a deal now. Yeah. If you're going to go in there, the biggest bargaining power you've got is waiving that credit card with the ability to make a deposit right then, immediately, if they'll do that deal. Because otherwise they'll not be as interested. And just say, look, I'm willing to do a deal now. This is the deal that I can get from so-and-so dealership. Again, make sure it's not connected dealership, because they can just ring up and find out if you're telling lies. And just say, so let's say we found out that it was 1,500 quid discount. And this is, again, you're going to have to push your own dealership this time, just to see, because bear in mind, your guys have invested time in you, so they might be able to find a little bit more. But if they can't, then you know where you are. So let's say with your shopping around that you did first, you know that you can get 1,500 quid off the bike. Then with your shopping round again that you did on the payment, you actually know that you can get that down to 260 rather than 293, right? So somewhere, somehow that APR's come down. So what I would then do is I take that 260, I go into my local dealership, so look, car's on the table, this is what I've got from so-and-so down the road. They're going to offer me 250 quid a month, yeah. That's based on they're going to give me 1,500 quid discount on the bike. They've offered it to me for £250 a month, and they're going to throw me a tail tidy in. Just whatever, you just keep going. Just be cheeky. You're going to have to step a little bit back. What's then going to happen is that sales guy's going to probably suck air into his teeth. He's going to leave you hanging around the showroom for about half an hour while he goes into his sales manager. His sales manager's going to go nuts and they're going to start tapping around the calculator. Now, at this point, they're absolutely almost saying they're going to come back and say, we can't do that, there's no way we can do it, we can only do 280. But you're still winning, right? You're still winning at 280, bear that in mind, because that's with 1,500 quid discount that you never knew you could get before. It's more than you originally got asked, but we don't want that. So at this point, you need to start being. Do not treat this as a confrontation. A lot of people make the mistake when they get negotiating that they treat it as a confrontation, and it almost gets angry. And the absolute opposite needs to happen here. You need to be the absolute nicest you can be. You need to take all your sort of ego and everything out of this. That's the worst thing you need to do. This is not. You need to make them think that they're winning. Take ego away from this. You want to. The best thing you can do at this point is play the can't afford it card. Right? Play the poor old me. I'm down to my last 2 bob to rub together card, and just say, look, I've really, come out with something like I'm really stretching myself to buy this bike here. The Aprilia's $3,000 cheaper. I've hassled the wife saying I can probably get this for 250. Those guys down the road can just about do it. I can just about squeeze that into my budget. So I really want to do business locally, but if they can do it at 260 quid a month or 250 quid a month, then surely you guys can match it for me, just so we can do some business local. And just play it like that. And 9 times out of 10, if you push that and push that and push that enough, they will. I'll be very surprised if they don't, because you're confident. You know you can walk away and get that deal. And just say to the sales guy, just say, look, you and I both know I can ring them down the road now and I can get that deal. I can walk out of here and go and do that now. And they know you can, because they've done the calculations. They've been in the office for half an hour. They know full well that you can get that deal, right? The only way they're going to let you walk out that door is if you've gone too far, and they literally cannot do it, and they think you're drunk or you're just taking a piss, basically. If they know that that's a factual number that is achievable in their system, caveat, they might not want to do it because they might be storming their numbers and they might want to knock all that profit out the bike, in which case, you make your decision then, that's up to you. You can go to the other dealership and get your 260 quid a month and your $2,000 off, or you can pay a bit more to go local with these guys. I'm not saying what decision you should make. For me, it depends on what that number is. If that number's 50 quid a month or 500 quid, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go and buy it from where it was cheapest. If it's 3 or 4 quid a month or whatever, and they'll chuck you a tail tidy in, or they'll whatever, give you free coffees every time you go in, then you make that decision, don't you? Because you've got to invest for the next time you buy a bike, and the next time you buy a bike, if you've got a deeper relationship, it's just beneficial. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything here. That's just basically the process that I go through when I'm buying a bike. It's all about having the relationship with the dealership first, and then second is, and just as important, is doing the research and knowing. And I'm not saying ringing around and telling minor porcupines to sales guys is necessarily ethical or morally right. But look, like I said to you, how do you know if you're going to get the right discount? How do you know unless you ask? You have no idea. And these guys will sell you a bike at list price, I promise you. The Aprilia guys were great with me, fantastic to deal with. I like them, but I got a few grand off of that Aprilia. But trust me, if I had gone into that Aprilia and said, can I have a discount? They said, well, we could do you 500 quid. And I accepted it. They'd be absolutely loving it. They'd be rubbing their hands together. No matter how nice I've been to them, how nice they've been to me, they would have sold me that bike for 2 or 3 grand more than what they did, right? And they would have slept very soundly in their beds at night. It's just a game. You're not taking money out of the salesman's pocket per se. They're still going to get paid. They're still going to get theirs. But you've got to do it, or not. It's up to you. So please don't be jumping in the comments saying that you do things differently and you've got a better way and blah blah blah. That's fine. People have just asked me for some advice. This is the way that I do it. It works well for me. As long as you give yourself time to prepare and research and do everything right, this is just the way that I do things. So if you've got any better ways, get in the pot, let me know. I'm all for getting a better deal. So yeah, Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks very much. Oh, thanks very much for all the new subscribers. Much appreciated. Anyone's not seen my Mick Exton's video, by the way, go and get in the pot on that. Share that video if you can. I'd really like to help those guys out. I've taken all ad revenue and everything off that video just so I can be as open and honest about my intentions with those guys as possible. It was the best day I've ever had on a bike, bar none. Part 2 is going to be out on Sunday. Please watch that, please share it. There's an interview with Mick Extons where he makes an announcement about the Dakar. Do not miss it, I promise you. And if you get a chance to head out to the Mick Extons experience, whether you're off-road or not, I know a lot of my viewers are track riders and not necessarily interested in off-road. I promise you, you'll have an amazing day. Just as much fun, if not more, as you'll get whizzing around Donington or Brands or Snetterton or Jerez. I promise, it's amazing. I'm not promoting it, I'm not being paid, I've no financial interest in this at all, other than, you know, they're a great bunch. COVID's kicked them in the nuts, as it has a lot of companies, so if I can help give them a bit of a boost, bonus. So yeah, cool. Thank you. Bye. Catch you on the next one.